So you want to learn how to counter any hero within Marvel Rivals. Well, you clicked on the right video, my friends, as today we start a new series each and every season where we look at all the hard counters, weaknesses, and strategies to efficiently shut any hero down. You ever feel like you're just an extra in the background in somebody else's highlight, right? Like, we've all been there. You queue up, hoping to have some fun. Hey, maybe win some ranked games or two, and then bam, Black Panther, deleting your whole team in 2 clicks. Been there. Maybe Spidey swinging around causing hell and everyone else thinks it's, well, everyone else's job to deal with it. Happened to me yesterday, but that changes today as we look at every hero within the game, and we're going to look at how to counter them. Who's the most efficient hero to put a stop to them, slow them down, make them swap off, or most importantly, send a message. And with that, guys, let's go and jump into... excuse me one moment, guys. Sponsor Cozy coming through. How you doing? Yep. Hey, we're doing a video, okay? Yeah, at the moment. Cool. Yeah. Hey, I noticed you have the decorating skills of a potato. My walls, this is a green screen. It's not even my actual denial. The first stage and lack of self-expression. All right, so listen, as I was saying, guys, this is important. Okay, yep. I'm done. Goodbye. Yeah, this is your walls we're talking about, and they deserve better. They deserve Display, the ultimate metal poster. Unlike those flimsy paper posters that curl up and cry when they see a little humidity, Displays, on the other hand, are made out of durable steel. They look stunning, they stay stunning, and the details? Chef's kiss. Mounting them, ridiculously easy. No nails, no tools, no oops, I just ruined my rental deposit. And the best part is you can swap them out whenever you want. One moment, you're all about Marvel, and then bam! Star Wars, and they've got over 2 million designs. So you name something you want, Display's probably got it. All right, fine. That kind of sounds pretty cool. Kinda, buddy. They're life-changing. You don't even have to wait long. Display ships fast. You can order today, and by the time it arrives, you'll have an entire plan on how to elevate your space. Now, use my link down in the description to get 1 or 2 Displays for 26% off, or I'll do you one better. Use code COZYRIVALS to get up to 33% off your order. Now, if you excuse me, I've got some walls to rescue. Let's go to jump in, guys. A to Z, we're going to talk about Adam Warlock all the way to Wolverine. And the graphics here are going to show the heroes that I think are personally some of the best to shut them down. It's not going to have all of them because I'm going to talk through a lot of the core strategies and what to look for to counter each and every hero. And then alongside that, I got with Super Gomez, one of the best players in the game, and got his advice at a top rank, what he would do to shut down a lot of heroes. So you're going to get a lot of information today. And feel free, again, timestamps down below. Click around if you want to go to a different hero. So Adam is both a easy and hard hero to counter. He's all about his cooldowns and the critical management of them. Now, Soulbound is often the thing you're trying to apply pressure to make him use early or his own self-heal. If he runs out of his abilities, well, he's going to die because he has no mobility. Now, if you're playing with a good Adam, he's going to be obviously playing with his team, and he can easily just Soulbound, making it next to impossible to kill him. However, that being said, if you ever catch Adam by himself, or if you're on domination and he's playing a little bit away from his team, that is your chance to dive him because obviously his mobility is, well, nothing. Dive in, do as much damage as you can possibly do, and then obviously he has his passive to self-revive. Follow him, and then you can either, have him cancel it and go back to spawn, or you can kind of act like you forgot about him, go back, kill him, or just keep an eye on where he's coming back to, and if you can, try to lock in the kill. Lastly, his ultimate can be obviously game winning, and so you don't want him bringing back the whole team and then reviving them to full health. So if you're up against a good Adam player and you are a DPS player yourself, save on to the important ultimates to handle his very easily. These are quick killing and fast damaging ultimates, like Winter Soldier is probably the best one to save on to. Just holding on to an Adam ult, it's just a free pentakill. But again, things like Moon Knight, Psylocke, there's a lot of like just quick damaging abilities that can shut down his and pretty much counter it entirely. So in short, guys, Adam, tricky one, dive characters when he's alone, Bucky, and other good ultimates to counter his ultimate. Now, our next hero could be the reason that you even typed and looked for this guide, and that is Black Panther. Now, the bad news is a good Black Panther can completely just wreck teams, obviously. But the good news is there's a lot of counters on how to stop the guy. There's almost too many heroes to talk about. I would say the best 2 to just hard counter him completely. Namor is going to be his hardest counter. You're going to hear that with a lot of dive characters today. His turrets are insane. Luna Snow, if she's not banned, is even better, obviously, to slow him down. And the reason why this is good is because Black Panther loves to leave his team and go for your backline. And so if you have turrets, it's kind of an extra pair of eyeballs on him, trying to help keep your team alive so you can stay with your team against their team who is now missing a hero. But another good and hard counter, really the other extremely hard counter, is going to be Bucky. Obviously, just incredible at damage, slowing him down. All of his abilities are meant to stop divers, and so this is what he does best. Really, the main thing with Panther is, A, trying to stay together as much as possible. If, he's diving just the supports and your team's not helping, stay with your other support to keep each other alive. Avoid just being isolated, but also just ruining his ability combos. And there's a lot of ways to do that, but mainly it's quick and fast CC. And by CC, crowd control, any way to disrupt him. So that could be something as small as Jeff's bubbles that can just disrupt his dash and screw him up completely. Peni Parker and her quick webs work well. Now, Squirrel Girl can do the stun on him, but also the Spider-Man team up, both super lethal against Panther. Hela has her disrupt ability. Luna Snow can freeze him. All of these are just great ways to mess up his dash and effectively have him be a sitting duck. But you can also use things like Hulk's bubble, Magneto's bubble. That's also going to mess up his mark system, and so you can get creative with things like that as well. If you notice that he messes something up on his cooldowns, that's the time to punish the Panther. Moving on, we got Black Widow, and there's a good amount of counters to her. Obviously, people disrespect most widows, as you should. She's, last 2 seasons been the worst hero in the game. She's a lot better though now, and you should put a bit more respect, especially as you climb ranks. You're going to play better and better players. Now, easily, I would say she's got a good amount of counters to stop what she's doing. Hawkeye and Hela both perform a little bit better than she can against them. So punishing her just the same way that she will punish you is really the best way to counter her. But also, Psylocke is an absolute bully to Widow. Just, go invisible, appear, and just shotgun her down. Any dive hero can work pretty well too. Spider-Man, Magik, the Hulk, Black Panther, you name it, pretty good too. And then I would say, as far as like a Vanguard, Magneto has so many shields to just mess up her line of sight and absorb a lot of her attacks. Even though she does have some good combos, she struggles in close combat. She doesn't have any great escape at all. And as long as you avoid peeking her from a long distance, she should be relatively easy to counter. Captain America, another just extremely hard character to counter. Captain America, there's so much going on with his kit. He was built to survive. He was built to be a brawler, a bruiser, a bully. There is a couple of heroes that could definitely shut him down. He is weak to crowd control, and honestly, the Thing is great at his double shift, just knocking him up, stopping him in his tracks, and then punishing him there. Oftentimes, you're not going to kill Captain America, but you're going to disrupt him enough or take his health down enough to make him leave and go back to his team. Iron Fist is probably my favorite counter for him right now. Great tracking. His ability got a little bit better with his right click now. It doing percentage damage just makes him a good way to keep up with him and do a nice amount of damage. And then Wolverine is good too. He can block his grab, which makes it very difficult, but obviously, Wolverine's just good against any tank in the game. Those would be probably the main heroes. Scarlet Witch, Cloak, those kind of work with the auto tracking, can make it a bit easier, but he is going to punish you a good amount. Don't be isolated too much because he can take you one-on-one most of the time and break his shield when he can. Cloak and Dagger. Now, you can stop a lot of what they do with Magneto and Doctor Strange. Magneto is by far the best counter to her, just because of his shields and the way that he works with his kit, but also just his ultimate is the best way to stop her ultimate. The other one being probably Psylocke and some of the dive characters, Magik being able to one-shot her. The main thing about her, though, is her bubbles can keep herself up really easy, making her hard to kill, and so you need to bait out her bubbles before engaging her and just watch her cooldowns and resource management. If you can call down after she uses Cloak's phase or the bubble, you should have a really easy time dealing with her, but if you're not doing that, it makes her way tougher to counter. An easy example of this is going with Psylocke, do some damage, make her bubble up, and then leave, and then come back right after that and try to finish her off. Last, I would say that they don't have crazy good mobility, so, poor positioning of any kind. A lot of the times coming out of their ult or just like from spawn, there's a lot of ways to take advantage of the positioning of Cloak and Dagger as well. Moving on, we go to Doctor Strange. So Strange got a pretty big nerf with his overall health pool, making his exact counter a little bit tricky. I would say right off the bat, my favorite counters are obviously Wolverine is just built to counter him, do, all that damage to his health. Really good character. His shield doesn't block Wolverine's attack. Strange is going to go down very quickly to a Wolverine. However, Magik and the Hulk, really any melee character, Iron Fist as well, does extremely good damage to Doctor Strange because of, the shield doing nothing. The shield is what he relies on, and so picking something like Punisher to melt down the shield are all different ways to just put a lot of pressure on the guy. I would say you want to focus him first as a DPS. Just get rid of him most of the time. You can look for the anti-heal or look to break the shield. He's a lot easier to deal with in Season 1.5, and those are the best ways to deal with him. Also, in addition, you can see Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is good to counter Doctor Strange. He kind of has a kit to counter himself, to stop his ultimate or the pressure that he consistently puts on your team. Now, I would say, aside from that, if you play rank, you should know where most of the key teleport spots are. If you guys don't, let me know and I can make a video on it. Essentially, just knowing at your rank where do strangers like to teleport. Next, we move on to Groot. Now, just like Doctor Strange, a lot of similar counters to him as well. Wolverine is insanely good against Groot because, well, the percentage damage, but also Wolverine can build up his own passive on Groot's walls, making it a insanely fast way to end Groot's life, which is just a sad thing to say, honestly. Iron Fist also effective counter as of lately. Groot is just not going to know what to do against a good Iron Fist now. I would say Captain America can bully Groot pretty well and get past his walls and just continue to put pressure on him. Really, you just want Groot to be using his walls in bad ways. He's trying to use it for control. You're trying to make him use it for control for himself and not his team. When in a big open space of a map or really just domination, a lot of the times, Groot's effectiveness goes way down and he's much easier to counter with. Other strong characters are Bucky Barnes, Punisher. Groot has a giant hitbox, which makes Bucky and Punisher's unlimited ammo just completely busted against them. Punisher's ultimate also is a crazy way to kill him pretty fast, burst through the walls. But if that's not enough, you can also play Hawkeye, play Black Widow, heroes that Groot can't really get out of the way from. Try to play off angles. Don't go like up the main point if you have a good Groot player you're going up against. Lastly, be aware of his ultimate. If you haven't seen it in a while, you're probably going to get a team wipe. And so, don't get all together if he's about to use it. Don't be too aggressive. Don't be planning an ultimate of your own. Whatever it might be, just try to be aware when he's going to ult. Next, let's talk about Hawkeye. Kind of like Black Widow, there's a lot of ways to obviously counter Hawkeye. Any quick diving hero, so Black Panther can counter him. Psylocke, Spider-Man, Magik, Star-Lord. Typically, I'm not going to put all the dive ones on here when I say them all, but this is the good bunch that can take care of the majority of heroes that suffer against dive. Also, kind of think Loki's low-key good. You can go invisible and then put your clones behind him and do a quick barrage of attack. The Hulk can also put just a lot of pressure on the guy. Mainly with Hawkeye, you just need to respect his, first of all, line of sight, but also he should be your first priority in a team fight. The longer he's in the team fight, the more kills he's going to get. Eventually, he's going to be picking off your heroes one by one. So focus him early, and if he's missing shots, make sure you pressure and continue to make him uncomfortable. Obviously, use cover around you, stuff on the map to the best of your ability, and when he does ult, just hide for the most part. It's all about line of sight with him, and so just staying out of that line of sight is going to be key. All right, so possibly the best hero in the game right now is Hela. She's close to it. She's really good. I can't believe they buffed her. For instance, if a good Hela has Luna Snow's Snowflake ability on her, it's going to be a bad time. However, as far as counters go, obviously Hela v Hela is going to be a good way, to take care of her. Star-Lord can actually counter her pretty well, putting out enough damage, but also being able to play around her and dodge her enough. If you're highly mobile, things like Magik, the Hulk, they're all pretty good to handle her, and her get out ability has a long cooldown. So if she uses that or if you see her use it, just follow her and she has no other escape. Lastly, her ultimate, obviously Doctor Strange can hard counter that. And if not, if you're Punisher, whatever it might be, just focus on the head and try to take her down as fast as possible. Moving on, we've got the Hulk. Another just insanely good hero within the game. There's a lot of mini strategies you want to use to best counter the Hulk, but when it comes to heroes, I would say kind of like Black Panther, a lot of the CC disruption heroes, again, Hela, Luna Snow, same list as Black Panther, can kind of stop the Hulk. Peni Parker is a very good counter to him because you have the webs to constantly make his life hell. You can use another Hulk to exile the Hulk or to exile him when he's in ultimate form, effectively wasting a good amount of it. Obviously, Iron Fist, Wolverine, they're tank busters kind of, right? So those are great as just overall counters. But also the Winter Soldier and Punisher with their infinite ammo can burn the Hulk and get him out of both ultimate form, which should be your #1 priority when he enters that, but also regular Hulk can go down quickly to the team up. Outside of heroes, the Hulk is not obviously great with a ton of pressure on him. He wants to apply the pressure, use his abilities like his shields, and then, get out of there. His shield is pretty easy to pop, and so once he's used that, or, after you've destroyed the shield, just do as much damage as physically possible to him. And I would say, just like any dive hero, but really the Hulk is up there, is you want to peel for your teammates, right? If your teammates are having a tough time, things are going bad, make sure you heal them, make sure they're up. If your supports are going down as a DPS, look back, try to help them out. Human Torch, quick list here. I think Human Torch is actually really easy to counter, as most flyers are, but your typical kind of no-fly zone heroes is going to be Hela, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Star-Lord. Any hit scan, there's more than this, but these are the super effective ones. Scarlet Witch is good. Heck, Iron Fist can work. Just look up for him. Make sure you're looking, where he is and keeping an eye on where he's trying to close down with his flame walls. Obviously, if there is a storm playing with him, you're trying to look at those cooldowns. When he's going to ult, don't blow ultimates because you're just going to die to that combo very easily. But as of right now, I think Human Torch is actually pretty easy to handle. Next up, we've got the new and improved Iron Fist. Now, it's going to be obvious a good Iron Fist versus a bad one. And if you need to know how to counter an Iron Fist, that means you obviously got a very good one. Now, Namor is the easiest, just quick way to counter Iron Fist. Just like Black Panther, shuts him down easy. The turrets take care of him. The slow turret ruins him. That's the most efficient way to hard counter him. Also, the thing in his shift or his dash and then canceling the dash can stop Iron Fist in his tracks. Easy to punish him from there. And then, of course, again, Bucky, very good against these dive style of heroes. I would say like Cloak and maybe Scarlet Witch is good to track him as well. Obviously, Iron Fist moves very quickly. A good Iron Fist is going to have well-timed blocks, properly walk into line of sight whenever he wants to do his defense block. So try to ignore him as much as possible, even though that's obviously pretty hard to do. The hero just does very well in 1v1 situations. So anytime you can do a team fight, if he has his ultimate, trying to crowd control that, or honestly just trying to out heal him is typically the best approach. Now, Iron Man, very much like Human Torch, really once Iron Man uses his overdrive and that's gone down, he's got nothing else to use against you, and he's gonna have a very tough time, right? So Hela, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Star-Lord, the no-fly zone yet again. But also, there's so much that counters his ultimate. Magneto is a very strong counter to the ultimate. You can get away with just about any hit scan, right? Adam Warlock, Punisher, and even Scarlet Witch is great against flyers as well. Now, Invisible Woman, obviously, half the battle is just, keeping her visible. Don't let her go invisible on you. If she does have her kind of knockback, it can make a bit tougher to close the kill. But oftentimes, Invisible Woman is going to have, a little bit of health when you dive her, and then she's going to go invisible, and then she heals up. And that's what makes her tough to really secure the kill. She's very similar to Luna when we cover her. Dive heroes are good. But because she's a bit more slippery, you do need to look out for that. I would say probably Psylocke's one-hit combo, Magik's one-hit combo, Spider-Man, all very good at quick kills on Invisible Woman. As well as like Squirrel Girl, who's just, good against most squishies. You can kind of CC her down and then hit her with a couple acorns. All right, so Jeff, odds are you don't need to counter Jeff too much, but there are some DPS Jeffs that are insane. And if you happen to run across them in your lobby, which they're becoming more popular, when it comes to a good Jeff, they're going to dive in and out. And Psylocke, and the way that her bullet spread is perfect against them, probably the best counter. But mainly, a lot of people are going to struggle with Jeff's ultimate, and so heroes that can do well against that is Bucky, Moon Knight, Squirrel Girl. Using Magneto's ultimate while Jeff is ulting can pretty much instantly kill him. Just don't get caught up chasing him when he's underground. You need to be focusing on what you should be doing, which is, capturing the point, the payload, being with your team, healing, whatever it is. Just don't get distracted by him unless he's obviously, just killing your entire team. Now, before we get to my favorite hero, I just want to quickly point out something. There's more than 90% of you guys that watch the content on a daily basis that aren't subbed, and totally get it. It's a hassle clicking the button, but it does help me out a lot as a creator. Now you probably want to unsub because I'm interrupting the content, so I'm going to go now, but it does mean a lot to me, and I appreciate you guys. Okay, bye. Now, for the next hero, Loki, play a lot of them, so I definitely know what counters them. Moon Knight is definitely the top counter for Loki. You can heal off those clones if he, starts to deal a lot of damage and you place your runes down, but for the most part, Moon Knight is a pretty hard counter to Loki in general, right up there with Bucky, Barnes, and again, your best way to escape is to go invisible. You place a clone, he triggers again, and your team is going to hate you. So be sure to switch off if you have a good Bucky. And then I would say probably Star-Lord is a very strong counter against Loki. Just he can get rid of the clones easily. He puts too much damage out, and unlike Spider-Man, who tries to, let's say, web you, you can put the lantern down, runes down. He's going to have a tough time. Star-Lord can take care of you pretty easily. To counter Loki, or if I was playing Loki, you need to be watching the rune stones, right? His green circle ability. Once I pop that, it's really tough to get rid of most DPS or duelists that are pestering me. I can go invisible, but you can pretty easily take care of me. If I'm like up in a clone nest, then obviously just, it can be a bit tougher because you might take some damage. And then for his ultimate, guys, any type of crowd control, stopping them of any kind can disrupt it, put it at 50%, and it's bad. You can do that to stop Loki's ultimate, or even better, if Loki copies Doctor Strange, let's say. You can disrupt that Doctor Strange ult, Then Loki's at 50%. He can't even use that ultimate, and he's just now a sitting duck, and their team doesn't have a healer. Outside of that, guys, focus his clones, get rid of them. You know, they're going to be doing a lot of damage on you and a lot of healing on his teammates, and it denies him being able to kind of jump around the map. And just like any support, watch his cooldown. Luna Snow, really just dive her, right? Dive her aggressively, wait for her, as people like to call it, clap to be off cooldown. When she claps her ice, it's going to heal her pretty fast, and so it's tough to take her down. I would say for the most part, the biggest counters are your typical good flank duelist, high DPS characters, Star-Lord, Psylocke, Magik, Spider-Man being another one. Those that just love to be in the back line. Black Panther has a tough time, I would say, for the most part, because of how much heals, you know, that Luna can do. You know, if you're really good at Black Panther, you can't be a counter. And then other than that, guys, she doesn't have great mobility when she's, you know, in the middle of healing and in the battle. She has to start running for a little bit to get out of the way, and if she doesn't do that, she can't get going at all. And so dive characters just punish Luna for that. And as for her ultimate, guys, I find a lot of Lunas like to protect themselves. And so if you Psylocke her, they're going to try to stay alive, stay with their team, use the ultimate, and then you can rely on another duelist to use their ultimate for a team wipe. All right, so Magik, again, is going to play like a lot of the other dives, and what's good against her is what's good against a lot of the dives. Hero-wise, I would say, obviously, Peni Parker and Namor are probably at the top of the list. Peni Parker with her stuns and nests make it really hard for Magik to secure kills, as well as Namor and the slow turret. Hela can put a lot of damage on you quickly and just good CC around the board. Jeff in the bubbles again. And then Mantis' sleep is strong. If you actually are a strategist and you have a Magik popping off on the other team, go Mantis, and you can just sleep her all of the time, and your team focuses her, and she's dead. It's because her passive builds shields as she does damage, and by sleeping her, obviously, you shut her down nearly completely. If a Magik's messing with you a lot, just always save a way to kind of stop, slow her down, like Luna Snow. Magneto, the just king of survivability and now damage. So Wolverine's always good to challenge him. Just a great way to kidnap him, take it back to your team. Same as Winter Soldier. These two are just kind of fantastic against most tanks in the game. Iron Fist also good as a tank counter. But the thing with Magneto is he's very, very slow. And so you can kind of bully him with certain heroes. Namor, for example, can throw turrets in hard-to-reach places, and they can just keep on dealing damage to him. And he's so slow, it's tough for him to do something about it other than, you know, his bubbles and shields. Also, Hawkeye's pretty good as well. I mean, he does have a lot of shields, but when they do come off cooldown, you're able to pop them pretty quickly. And then as for his ultimate, and this is what Super Gomez said, is that it's better to spam damage than to not. You can pop that bubble very quickly, his big fear Magneto. A lot of people don't, and I actually thought it is something you want to avoid, but it's pretty easy to burst it. The longer he holds it on, typically the more damage he's going to do. Oftentimes your team's going to feed into it anyway, and you'll be surprised if a couple people focus on it, that thing bursts quickly. Not going to put him on here, but because he's slow, dive heroes do really well against him too. But I'm telling you guys, beware. Now that he can left click, right click, left click, kill you, he's way more dangerous. All right, so a good Mantis can be pretty tricky to deal with. Her ultimate's not as hard to counter as, let's say, Luna, but as a hero, that sleep ability is deadly because, well, it counters her counter, which is going to be quick bursting heroes like Magik and Psylocke. Really, what you're trying to do is look for when her sleep is off cooldown. But oftentimes, some Mantises like to go DPS mode, and looking for those Mantis that are not in that backline anymore are the best time to take advantage against her. She's fast, she's tricky to hit, but a good Hela, good Hawkeye can take care of her pretty easily. And even though she does counter Magik, I would say Magik does a good counter on her, able to one-shot combo her. Mr. Fantastic. This is probably the most unkillable hero in the game right now. Extremely tough to just counter in general. I would say probably Punisher and his shotgun is most likely the best thing of just brute force damage against him. Squirrel Girl is also pretty good to either CC him or just deal a lot of damage on him quickly. It's more really about how to deal with him than who to deal with him, but Hela can do a lot of damage output, Storm, Star-Lord, the quickest DPS characters, because you're trying to not let him get in his big form often, because when he's in that big form, muscle form, he is the first priority to take down. He can do a lot of damage. It's his only damage, really, and that should be the focus for your team. His bounce ultimate is now pretty good, and I think it's actually worth targeting him during it. So Namor, Punisher, Again, anyone with quick just DPS is who I would personally use to focus down him while he's bouncing around. Some people say Wolverine, you know, Iron Fist. That could be a pretty tough encounter. Just watching his cooldowns and not letting him get into that kind of loop that he does with his abilities is the most imperative thing against him. Moon Knight. Very, very easy hero to counter. Once his Ankh is done, he's done. Psylocke being probably one of the best Moon Knight counters in the game. Black Panther as well. Star-Lord, Hela. Anyone that can get up close to him very quickly and make Moon Knight's life just a living hell. Really, like, securing the kill on him up close is easy. The main thing to counter him is just looking out for him, making sure that if your team's taking a lot of damage, all of a sudden, look at the rooftops, get rid of the Ankh, try to get him to go back on the ground with his team. He's going to often look for like a flank angle or an off angle, so looking around for a Moon Knight, especially if you know somebody on their team is going to play him. Namor, well, he's going to be banned most games, and if he's not banned, ban Luna Snow. That's the best way to shut him down. But outside of that, I would say Moon Knight is good against his turrets if he puts them close together, which he often does. It can kind of quickly bounce off the turrets and kill those. Punisher, a lot of damage, great range, can get rid of the turrets quite easily instead of having other characters waste their time trying to get rid of them. Hela is kind of the same exact thing there as well. Just prioritize number one, taking down his turrets 24/7. That's the first thing you want to do. Look for the turrets, get rid of them. It really takes Namor out of the fight. And then also force out his bubble of safety, right? Once he uses that, you can then dive him with, you know, Spider-Man, Magik, whoever it might be. Dive heroes do work on Namor, but that bubble's got to be gone. Peni Parker. So Peni goes down so quickly against Wolverine. Very easy to kidnap her out of her webs, which is her safe home, and then you tear her down quickly. Outside of Peni, though, Groot is also a great way to counter her nest. You can place a wall under it and it destroys the nest, which is such an effective way to get rid of that thing. I would say really any hero that's good at countering her nest. So Flyers are good, Storm, Iron Man, Human Torch. Get a bird's eye view and get rid of that thing. That's the main strategy to shut down the mines and shut down her healing and the spider drones. Other than that, she's a big walkable target, so you can kind of crowd control her much easier than other heroes, kind of similar to the Hulk, which, funny enough, is what she's good at, so give her a taste of her own medicine. And then, you know, her mines are going to be in the same spot a lot of maps, and that kind of scales up with how good the ranks are to how good the Peni is. You know, if you're in Celestial, then your Peni's going to be better at placing mines, and you should know the better Peni spots. And if you're in Silver, Gold, whatever it might be, it's going to just be the alternate flank pass a lot of the time. And so just take the other route, warn your team, communicate. And if she's ulting straight at you, have your team focus her and just destroy her. Moving right along, we go to Psylocke. And it was kind of tough coming up with one solid counter around her, but I would say Loki is by far her best. First of all, the clones don't give her cooldown on her abilities as far as I'm aware, and Loki's clones completely shut down her ultimate, causing her to spread around and just making it awful. And Loki's lantern, actually Loki is by far the best Psylocke counter in my opinion. Cloak and Dagger as well can just throw down a bubble and counter her ultimate, keep everybody alive. And just because of how Dagger heals, it makes it tough for Psylocke to get picks. And of course, you got Hela, who can just two-tap Psylocke from across the map. Psylocke is going to rely heavily on burst combos, and so not letting her get the entire thing off is a sure way to not die by her most of the time. And then if she gets greedy and does both of her dashes, and you know those are off cooldown, or she did the invisibility and it's gone and she has no escape, that's going to make her extremely easy to kill when she overcommits. Lastly, obviously, after the first time dying to her, you know they have a Psylocke now, so group together, don't be by yourself, you know, the basic dive practices. Follow the basic stranger danger rules, have a safety buddy. Rocket Raccoon, another kind of funny one to think about who counters him the best. I mean, Scarlet Witch, Namor, those are probably the best ones to track him easily. A very good rocket can be all over the place and just running around and dash him with his jetpack, and so those do a bit better to take him down. I also think Moon Knight is good to track him down as well, but really his weakness is his gadgets, right? So getting rid of the BRB device and finding those places where his revives could be. His ultimate you can take down pretty quickly. It's not all that important to focus it, but if your team's doing good at it, it's easy to take down. Make sure you're tracking infinite ammo. That's a big one. But for the most part, Rocket's pretty easy to handle. So Scarlet Witch, I would say most generic heroes can handle her. Her only escape is going to be the Fade ability, so watch those cooldowns. If those are off, she's going to have a tough time. Good Scarlets like to hang up high and slowly go down and use their ability of sucking from up top or throwing down their chaotic bursts. However, dive heroes can do well against her. You just need to make sure that she uses that fade, and then once she has done so, you can just punish her completely. She doesn't have anything else to deal with you, and her damage won't be quick enough to deal with your hopefully quick assassin damage. Now, her ultimate Reality Eraser, I mean, it's a little bit harder to kill, but just focus. Stop what you're doing and make sure you kill her. And once you realize you can't, run like hell. You gotta hide. All right, so Spider-Man is probably the one hero most people know how to counter, and it's Namor, because every single Spider-Man is begging for Namor to be banned. He's very similar to Black Panther. I would say a lot of the things that stop Black Panther is going to stop Spider-Man as well. Scarlet Witch is good at shutting him down. Just interrupting his flow and his cooldowns is going to leave him helpless. So again, just like his friend Panther, those quick crowd control heroes, shut him down. Oh, and for the love of Aunt May, stay away from the edges. When you play better Spider-Man heroes, they're going to throw you off the edge. And so, make sure Spider Island is a good example. Out of spawn. Just don't fall for the tricks. If you really need help, go to like one of Necros's guide about advanced Spider-Man stuff, and then just make sure you avoid all of that. All right, Squirrel Girl. So this can be a hero that a lot of people struggle with. Those freaking nuts, man, they hurt. Shields counter her really well. Obviously, she can break shields, but Doctor Strange, Magneto shut down a lot of what she's trying to pump out. Flyers are definitely the most efficient way to handle Squirrel Girl. Storm, Iron Man, Human Torch. She can't hit you, but you're gonna have a much easier time hitting her. Also, in addition, I think Psylocke is good. Just a lot of burst damage. She's pretty easy to get the burst combo out, and she has a tough time dealing with you. It's like kind of how to avoid Groot too. You don't want to be in a tight spot. Watch out for ricochet damage. Similar to Moon Knight, if you start taking a lot of damage and you don't know where it's from, it's probably her. You can use high ground efficiently as like Hela, Hawkeye to take her down. And as for ultimate, guys, just have everyone focus on it, and the thing goes down pretty quickly. So Star-Lord, tricky one for sure. Invisible Woman is a pretty hard counter on, his ultimate, which is a good thing to shut down. Cloak as well. Cloak, and just how Cloak works is auto tracking, but then his little dark curtain that blinds him makes Star-Lord's life hell. Any CC hero, it's going to be similar to that list as Spider-Man and Black Panther, but he has a bit more escape, especially now that his jetpack has more fuel. Scarlet Witch, another great hero with the auto tracker, and then other hit scans. Hela is one of those kind of, he's good against Hela, and she's good against her. Storm is going to be banned in pretty much every game you play, but if she's not banned, it's that same list as Iron Man, and I'll throw that up, right? The no-fly zone. She's extremely susceptible to just hit scan characters in general, so the Hela, Star-Lord, Punishers. And her ultimate is not only predictable, but you have some time to react. And so whether that's with a support ult or just trying to spread out, obviously she is very hard to handle because of how much damage she does do. And well, another Storm can also do well against her. Hulk can throw her into the ground. He's good at disrupting her. Mainly, I would just say put some attention on her. A lot of flyers, you just have to hit a couple times and they go back into their hiding spot. If you let them just continue to punish your team, they're going to continue to do so. So make sure you put some damage on her. The Punisher. Now, most heroes, I would say, are pretty good against him. Mainly, I would say Magneto and Captain America have enough in their tool belt, to either shield all of his stuff as Captain America. Magneto's the same. He has so much uptime on just keeping his teammates alive. And then, of course, using Magneto's ult against Punisher's ult is the #1 way he's going to die. Quick flanking characters like Magik, Spider-Man are good as long as he doesn't pull out the shotgun and ruin you. Really, a good amount of Punishers rely on their turrets, and so just shutting those down quickly and diving them and just making them uncomfortable. The big thing to remember, though, as a dive hero, if you're trying to get rid of him, is he does have wall vision. So you're going to have to wait a little bit before you go after him again, because he can see you and he's just going to shotgun you right in the face. The Thing. He's probably one of the most susceptible heroes to Wolverine and Iron Fist. Even though he kind of counters them, the percentage-based stuff really hurts him, and you kind of have to avoid his shift. But once that shift is gone, and by shift it's his quick dash, it negates all of his mobility. He does have his other ability, but it's not near as, mobile as his main core shift dash. I would say because Thor is all about getting in people's face, he's probably my favorite counter against the Thing. Punisher and his shotgun, or the infinity ammo with him and Bucky. Star-Lord, Hela, quick damage heroes. Luna's Freeze and Squirrel Girl using her CC and Spider-Man's team-up CC can stop him in his tracks. He's a very good hero, but there are things to really just make sure he's uncomfortable. Now, Thor's a lot more difficult to deal with post-patch than he was pre-patch, now that he's a bit harder to deal with after he comes from his Awaken mode. I think the surefire counter to him is just Punisher Shotgun. I mean, just like the Thing, you pump so much damage into this guy, make him extremely uncomfortable, and he's not going to get in your face because you're dealing more damage than he's able to do to you, especially outside of Awaken mode. Peni Parker also really good to CC and stop him constantly and pestering them, kind of like she does with the Hulk. Wolverine and Iron Fist, obviously, because we're talking about a tank. I would also say Moon Knight, Hawkeye are good against him too, playing away from him. He's up close with your team. You're able to do damage from afar. All right, so Venom is all about perfecting when to use abilities. Is there a good hero against him? I will just say it's all the CC ones probably, and any just high damage ones we've talked about, Hela, Star-Lord, whatnot. But it's all about timing the crowd control for right after his shield ability or around it. You're going to burn through that extra health fast with your team, and then the second he's trying to get away, you use a CC, and he doesn't know what to do because his swing is now on a long cooldown, and he's dead. Kind of like the thing, raw, huge DPS, quick DPS is going to make Venom super uncomfortable. Winter Soldier is the counter to, like, everything. So what's good against him? Well, he relies on his abilities for a lot of his healing, and it does take some time for him to land his damage down. But it's all about tracking his abilities and then his ultimate, right? His ultimate is one of the biggest carries in the game, and so by now you should know that your team needs to save defensive cooldowns. And really, if you're getting just torched by a Winter Soldier and you have, let's say, a Rocket Raccoon and, I don't know, an Atom, you need a Luna, you need an Invisible Woman. Someone needs to slow them down, because if you don't, they're just going to eventually cap the objective. And last but not least, we've got Wolverine. And Wolverine is not as bad as people think. They ban him. He's one of the most banned heroes in the game, 1 or 2. And really, if you have 1 tank and you go 3 healers, Wolverine's not going to have a good time. You're going to be able to heal your tank up quick enough. And it's all about popping his passive. As soon as you pop the passive, his survivability goes to next to nothing. And his healers can't really help him all that much. Wolverines aren't good at tracking their passives. So watching that, watching edges so he doesn't throw you off an edge. And then, of course, just good, solid CC. Namor and his slow turrets. Magik is actually really good against them. I think Psylocke can also give him a tough time. And we might as well show him again all the heroes that can do quick CC disruption. And there you guys go. That's all of them. That's all the heroes within the game. Again, I plan on doing this on a season-by-season basis, where maybe we'll have a bit more information on screen so you can click to the hero that you want and find the best way to counter them in the given season. If you want to see that, like today's video, and if you enjoyed and you learned something today, again, subscribe down below. Good luck out there. Until the next one, guys, happy raveling.